Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. I think it's a stupid excuse when a crazy neighbor breaks into your house because he knew the previous owner. Well, in our first story, it did happen. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. New neighbor walks into our house because she knew previous owner. Cast: me, fiance, my dad, EM entitled neighbor. This happened 2 years ago when my fiance and I bought our townhouse. Here's some backstory. We found a townhouse for sale in a complex. It was in our price range but needed some work, mainly the basement. On the disclosure, the previous owner stated that the basement had flooded a few years previously. However, the basement was carpeted and had never been replaced or cleaned, so it smelled mildewy. The way the house is set up, there are two entrances, the front door and a door in the basement, both with doorbells. The basement was in two sections, an office and a playroom with the outside door. This is relevant for later. Okay, back to the story. I took a week off work and my fiance was only able to take 2 days off so we could start cleaning and prepping our new house. First full day, we cut the basement carpet out and started scraping the glue off the floor. When my fiance was back at work, I was there alone cleaning. My father's a bit of a handyman and was really excited about us getting a house, so he was going to come down and help us. I was in the basement sweeping and cleaning, and because of the amount of dust, I left the door to the outside open, then went into the office to start cleaning in there. And that's when my father calls. Here's how I remember the conversation going. Me: "Hi, Dad." Dad: "Hi, kiddo. How's the new place?" Me: "Needs some work." Dad: "I'm about to leave here. Do you need me to bring any tools down?" I turned to leave the office. Me: "No, I don't think so. Oh my God, who are you?" There, in the middle of the other section of the basement, was a strange woman just standing there, looking slightly disgusted by the mess. I nearly dropped my phone from the shock of a random person in our house. Ian: "I'm Ian. I live in the unit over there." Me, still in shock and extremely confused: "What are you doing here?" Ian: "I know the previous owner." Me: "Huh?" Ian: "You know you shouldn't leave this door open. Squirrels can get in." She then walks out the door, closing it behind her. I'm still in shock and looking like a trout with my mouth open. I snap out of it when I hear my dad still on the phone. Dad: "Hello? Is everything okay?" Me: "I think I just met our neighbor." My fiance and I had a good laugh about it later. And our second story. Cut me in line? Get arrested for assault. A few years ago on Christmas Day, I was at the gas station near where I grew up in a pretty crappy area of a suburb bordering East Cleveland. My brother and I were waiting in line to pay for our stuff when some dude stepped up to the front of the counter, disregarding the entire line. When I simply said, "Excuse me, there's a line," he replied with, "Yeah, and now I'm in front of it. And there's nothing you gonna do about it, you BAN word." I started mouthing off to the kid and told him he's a filthy scumbag piece of ghetto trash. He got super belligerent and got right in my face and screaming about beating my butt. Mind you, I'm about 6 foot and 225 at the time, and my little brother was about 6'2", 215. Both of us were college wrestlers, so we're pretty well built. This kid's like 6'2" and 165 pounds. He kept threatening to beat my butt, which I wasn't worried about, especially since my brother hadn't said a word and was standing behind the guy, ready to drop him like a bad habit if he did anything stupid. The guy kept trying to fight me, but was too big of a coward to throw a punch at me. I told the guy he wasn't worth my time and turned my back, knowing damn well that if he tried to sucker punch me, he had a sucker punch waiting for him from a much larger adversary. He left, making a lot of noise, knocking over displays, and I proceeded to pay for my stuff and inquire with the cashier about what that dude's problem was. When I walked out in the parking lot, the guy was standing there between me and my car with his two friends all jumping around and threatening me. My brother and I, no doubt, could have cleaned house on these punks, But it was Christmas, which I clearly remember because the dude called me a Christmas A N-word multiple times, which I still can't decipher as anything meaningful. And we wanted no part of fighting, especially since we both know that a fight over cutting in line is ridiculous. Long story short, the guy from inside pulled out a gun and began waving it around like a fool, and I wasn't carrying that day. And I'm not ashamed to say I ran like a mother effer, tailed closely by my brother. Even if I was carrying, I probably still would have ran, since not only were there 3 of them, but they were standing in front of gas pumps. And a missed shot could mean a lot more than it would in any other situation. I don't think they followed us, but I heard them calling us P words and B words as we hit skates and disappeared into a residential development. Anyways, we ended up hiding in somebody's backyard and called our other brother for a ride. I asked him to drive by my car at the gas station after he picked us up, and as we went by, we saw the scumbags getting cuffed, thanks to the cashier who called the cops when the whole confrontation started and he knocked over the displays. I very smugly got out of the car and walked up to the cops to tell them I was the guy who had the gun pulled on him, and waved to the guy in the back of the cop car with a big smile as I gave my statement. What was great was that the cops didn't know the gun was pulled out at all, since the cashier didn't see it. They found the gun on him while searching him before I arrived, but since he actually drew the gun, he was charged with assault with a deadly weapon or something of that degree, confirmed by the security footage. Go figure, the gun was unregistered and the kid was only 20, so wasn't legally allowed to have a handgun in my state anyways. I don't know exactly how long he got, but all 3 pled guilty, so I didn't have to go to court to testify, which was nice. Very nice. That rude dummy got exactly what he deserved. And you didn't have to do a damn thing but make a statement to the cops. And our last story. My dad demands my salary. This is a true story. It's about my father. I might sound like a bad person talking about my own parents this way, but it's true. I'm no angel, and I had a rough life. To be honest, I had a rough childhood. The relationship between me and my father was pretty bad. I'm the second child, and I have an older sister. Apparently, my dad wanted another daughter, hence he started avoiding me from the day I was born. Like, he didn't even show up at the hospital that day. So my mom had to go to the hospital alone, give birth to a baby, and come back home with this new baby, me. He avoided me so much that whenever my family would go shopping, everyone would get something with them. A cloth, a toffee, anything they wanted. I, on the other hand, would not have anything. If I asked for something, he'd throw a loud tantrum like I asked him to do something illegal. Let me come clean here. After a few years, after I turned 8 or 9, I did start arguing back. I started to push him to the extremes to make him feel what I felt like. But he would handle it all the same way. Yell at me, slap me. Even until this day, I have social anxiety disorder because of the experiences I had. Not only that, he loved throwing away my stuff. When I was young, I had a hobby of collecting stuff. My oldest memory is of me collecting shells from the beach. He would throw everything away, saying that it was worthless. I started collecting stamps, and he used all of them to send letters to his friends. I collected coins, and he threw them all in the toilet. I collected fossils. Not lying, I had fossils. He waited until I filled a bucket of amber and other kinds of fossils and sent a verification to the archaeologist department to verify it. They verified it and said they are original and could get me thousands if I sell them. I didn't want to sell and wanted to collect more. Days later, he took all of it and threw it away because, and I quote, "Carrying bones inside the house would bring demons inside." I gave up fighting him at that point. I was around 13 to 15 at the time. I thought that if I could bear a few more years, I could get my own life with my own rules. When the time came for me to go to college, he wouldn't let me choose my favorite course. I was forced to choose IT. Not regretting that, but it wasn't my thing. I just agreed and lived in the hostel. He went abroad for work after that. I thought I could live my life after that, but he doesn't let go of me that easily. He gave his number to like everyone in my college, my roommates, classmates, professors, etc., and he'd investigate me every day. If I don't respond the way he liked, he'd send my sister, family favorite, to get my mobile phone and make me realize what it's like to be lonely. After 4 hard years and 1 year of training, I got a nice job in an MNC that I've always looked up to. In January this year, I got my first salary. I wanted to have a lot of fun with it, like having good food in a nice restaurant with my friends, going out on a hiking trip, etc. That's when he shows up. After all these years giving me everything I wanted, he'd have my food on the plate before I get to the table, the water heater would be on hours before I go to the bathroom for a bath and stuff like that. My mother, being the kind-hearted angel she is, warns me that he's doing it to get my money and nothing else. And just like she said, a few days later, my dad comes to me and demands that I send him $3,000. Like I said before, I was still a trainee, so I straight up refused to pay him. Then the blackmailing starts. My grandma, sister, uncles, and everyone in my family insisted on paying my dad because family comes first. So after a lot of arguments, I decided to take the hard way around. I pay him the $3,000, pack my stuff, and move out. I remove my dad's name from the nominee and insurance list that my company provides, free healthcare in all major hospitals throughout the world for the employees and 3 family members, which just has my mother's name now. Now I live alone, just a few minutes away from the main HQ of my company. The story doesn't end there. He called me a few days ago asking me for another $3,000. This time he says no matter how much I get in my salary, I should send him $3,000 every month. If you're living with your expenses, you know that's impossible. So I just decide to ignore him for a few days. I've made up my mind I'm not paying him a penny after this, even if it means that the money would save his life. I'll let him die. Like I said, I'm not an angel. I've suffered in life, but that doesn't mean I'm going to help my oppressors and be a good hero. Everyone should own up and pay for what they're worth. So yes, the money is mine. I'm saving the rest of my money, salary and expenses, up for my future wife, marriage, and kids. Good for you. I don't care if he's family. Toxic is toxic. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.